Hello and welcome back to Living Abroad. So for the past few days I've been telling you guys the latest update about the Thai Pass. Today there isn't any updates about the Thai Pass, but there are some interesting stories that I think you should know about. My name is Alex and you can live through me. So on Friday there was an Israeli tourist that came into the country and left the hotel room before getting his test back for his PCR or ATK test. And apparently he was tested positive for the Omicron, but he left the hotel and he was somewhere nobody could find him. So the authorities have retrieved him and they now know that he's actually not positive for the Omicron. And another thing is that the Pattaya has really urged the government to include them in the Sandbox program, so they can at least get some business back into their, local community. So we'll see what the people and the government decide to do with that one. The Morchana app has been really letting people down. I know I've used it and I can tell you it's really not a good application. So many hotel owners and business leaders are really upset about the fact that the police are calling them, trying to make sure that people are calling them, making sure that people are where they said they are, and they're upset because why can't they track them through the app? That's the whole purpose of it, right? So they can't either download it, or it's not working, or people don't come with a phone, or they're turning them off, and things like that. So that's very interesting too. And one more piece of news, unfortunately the Laos and Thailand border plan to reopen has been shelved for now because of the Omicron variant, so you cannot come and travel by land between Thailand and Laos, which would have been great for people that want to do visa runs and things like that. So let's take a look at the official announcement. Not official, but I'm following English English news channel for Thai news, which is great. So they're really credible and I really like their stories. They're called Tiger, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you their video about everything that I just talked about. Let's have a look.
In the most recent twist to the case of an Israeli tourist who entered Thailand on Friday and snuck off before receiving his COVID-19 test, only to be diagnosed with Omicron as a nationwide manhunt ensued, the man has now been determined to be COVID-19 free. The 29-year-old Israeli in question was tested on arrival for COVID-19, and authorities reported he was positive with traces of the Omicron variant too. Before those results had been determined, he headed off to Pattaya. After being refused to a hotel room without a passport, he headed to Koh Samui, where he eventually contacted the Israeli embassy to turn himself in to police as police pursued him. Police took him into custody at a restaurant, transported him to the local Bangkok hospital, and later to Koh Samui Hospital to be quarantined, both of which tested him again for COVID-19. And surprisingly, the tests from both hospitals came back negative. Then the Department of Medical Science ordered a third test. It too came back all clear. But the man still faces charges for running off before the PCR test results, which breaks a law regarding a foreigner who fails to stay where he was permitted after arrival in the country. Currently, he's at the Thongla police station in Bangkok, facing a range of charges. So far, he's seen more of Thailand than most of us do in a year. Meanwhile, a failure to coordinate tourist tracking apps is being blamed for some tourists who have avoided the health screening process, just like the situation with the missing Israeli tourist. The president of the Katakaron Hotel Association claims that different authorities responsible for different applications have failed to coordinate the system across the country. She told the Bangkok Post that the authorities should be able to track his real-time location without having to call hotels to determine if a tracking app is working. She maintained that around 80% of inbound travelers were unable to download the Morchana App, supposed to be the main tool to track people's whereabouts, alert them when to take their COVID test, or warn them when they have had close contact with an infected person. She said that the system is disabled even when a single letter is changed, when users input information, and is different from other apps. The system also relies on hotels inputting in the exact same spelling and lay out the information about travelers when they book in. Other travelers, she said, simply weren't traveling with a mobile phone or ran out of data or just turned their cell phones off. 2 people have been arrested in Bangkok, accused of using a borrowed credit card to rack up 6.7 million baht spending spree. The pair were arrested by the Crime Suspension Division police in Bangkapi, but they're so far denying wrongdoing. The accomplices are a 47-year-old Thai woman and her 51-year-old male accomplice, believed to be a motorcycle taxi driver in Bangkok. The owner of the credit card gave the card to the accused woman in order to make a purchase of cosmetics on sale. But police said the two used the credit card to make a large number of unauthorized purchases instead. Police say they racked up sales of alcohol, cigarettes, and a number of unspecified items. The two are facing charges of jointly using other people's electronic cards in a manner that is likely to cause damage to others. All in all, a total spend of 6.7 million baht on a credit card. Oof, that's a lot of cigarettes and alcohol. Just a few days after confirming plans to open the land border between Thailand and Laos in Nong Khai, the reopening was shelved indefinitely, whilst Thailand tries to contain any major outbreak of the Omicron variant. The cheerily named Thai-Lao Friendship Bridge that links the two countries will remain closed for the time being, having earlier been planned as the first test-and-go land entry port. The plan had been to make the bridge at Nong Khai border Thailand's first test-and-go entry point. International arrivals by air allowed fully vaccinated travelers to enter Thailand with minimal quarantine since November 1st. But the land borders that are open at all require anyone crossing into Thailand to quarantine for 14 days. But now the CCSA has announced that they are suspending the entire test-and-go program until at least January 4 for all border entries by air or sea or
Well,
land.
guys, so let me know which of these stories do you find the most interesting? You know, like the Israeli tourist, he could have really jeopardized other people if he was positive for the Omicron. You know, like if you don't know you have the virus and you're spreading it around to other people, it's really not fair, right? And you just kind of make everybody else look bad too, and then they may like lead to closing down. Like, I'm being like really dramatic, but you know, you never know what can happen, right? It's people like him that really give tourists a bad name. So just follow the rules. And what about the land border thing? Were you planning on doing like visa runs so you could renew your visa by going to another country and coming back? And yeah, let me know which of these stories interest you the most. And by the way, guys, if you like this kind of content, I'm going to be doing in 2 hours, I'm going to do a live stream about nightlife here in Patong, Phuket. So if you want to see some different kind of content, like my usual stuff about life here in Thailand, you can check out the live stream and you can ask me any questions that you have about that and give you guys a nice view of that. And for my regular viewers, don't worry, I'm going to continue to do weekly videos about just living abroad. Temples is the one that's coming up. So on Sunday, I'm going to give you guys a tour about some temples in Bangkok. And let's see what happens next. So if you like this kind of videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.